In this video, we're talking about the most controversial word of the year. Tariff. Why is Trump pushing for higher tariffs? And how did this become the reason behind the growing tension and division between countries? We'll break down what tariffs are, why they matter, and how they affect not just global trade but also our economy, our jobs, the prices we pay, and the stability of the world we live in. This isn't just about politics, it's about our everyday lives. Let's dive in. What exactly is a tariff? Aside from Trump calling tariff the most beautiful word in the dictionary,
I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary.
A tariff is a tax on imported goods, meaning products that come from other countries into your country. In April 2025, Trump announced a 25% tariff on imported automobiles and a 10% tariff on all products from other countries. Let's look at an example. Let's say a Honda CR-V, manufactured in Canada, costs $50,000. With Trump's newly announced 25% auto import tariff, that car would now cost $62,500 in the US. That's an extra $12,500 just in taxes. So, now, the Honda CR-V made in Canada and sold in the US is much more expensive, with US buyers paying the price of those new tariffs. This is a clear example of how Trump's tariffs are pushing the prices of foreign-made cars even higher, all while creating division between countries like Canada and the US. So, the purpose of a tariff is to make foreign products more expensive. If foreign products are more expensive, the idea is that US consumers will be more likely to buy products made in America, because American products would be cheaper since they wouldn't be subject to the tax. It also incentivizes foreign companies to invest in America and produce their products, which includes building infrastructure and creating jobs. A supporter of tariffs would say that imposing a tariff helps promote domestic production. Here are the theoretical benefits. Creates jobs in America. By encouraging domestic production, tariffs can help create more job opportunities for American workers. Boosts the economy. With more production and job creation, the overall economy benefits. Increases tax revenue. The U.S. government can collect more tax revenue from the increased economic activity. However, there is a cost, and that cost is inflation. So, the question is, do the pros outweigh the cons? Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you want to build smartphones. Would it be cheaper to set up your factory in a country with cheap labor and abundant materials, or in a country where everything is expensive, and workers are hard to find? It's not a trick question, the obvious answer is the first one. Companies choose countries with lower costs because it gives them a competitive advantage in production. Now, when it comes to making products in general, some countries naturally have a competitive edge, whether it's due to stronger manufacturing systems, richer natural resources, more efficient supply chains, or larger, cheaper labor pools. Compared to many parts of the world, the US often faces higher costs in all these areas, making it less competitive for certain types of manufacturing. That's why, in many cases, it's not only cheaper but also more practical to produce certain goods overseas rather than trying to manufacture everything locally in the United States. And it's not just smartphones. Did you know that 97% of clothing Americans buy isn't made in the USA? Just check the tag, it's probably made in places like Thailand, Vietnam, or China. Why? Because it's much cheaper to make clothes in countries like Bangladesh and India than in America. In places like Bangladesh, workers might earn as little as $150 a month, that's about 87 cents an hour. On top of that, environmental and labor regulations are much more relaxed compared to the US. However, this is exactly where Trump's tariff idea comes into play. By imposing heavy tariffs on imported goods, he hopes to push businesses to move their factories back to the United States. The goal is to make imports so expensive that companies have no choice but to produce in America. And that's the whole idea. Make foreign products more expensive so that American-made goods look more attractive in comparison. Additionally, the goal is to force foreign companies to build factories in the US, creating jobs and boosting infrastructure development. But while the idea sounds patriotic on paper, in reality, it risks driving up prices for American consumers and businesses because the US still struggles with higher labor and production costs compared to many parts of the world. Okay, here's a crucial question: who pays the tariff? Trump said, tariffs are taxes on foreign countries. Period.
because tariffs are going to make us rich as hell. It's going to bring our country's businesses back that left us.
But that's not quite how it works. Let's take an example. Walmart imports a microwave from China for $100, sells it for $150, and makes a $50 profit. Now, add a 10% tariff. Walmart has to pay $10 in tax to the US government. To keep that $50 profit, Walmart simply raises the price to $160. So, who's really paying the tariff? You are, the American consumer. Essentially, the tax gets passed on to the consumer, end up paying $10 more for the same microwave. And it's not just microwaves. About 70% of everything sold at Walmart is imported. Raise prices on all of that and suddenly your grocery bill, your clothes, your electronics, everything starts costing more. Now here's a big point. Where does all that tariff money go? It goes straight to the US Treasury, meaning the government collects billions of dollars in additional revenue. In theory, this money can be used to fund public projects, or invest back into American industries. So while tariffs can raise costs for consumers, they also provide a financial boost to the US government. We're talking about billions of dollars in extra cash that can be used to rebuild infrastructure, invest in American workers, or even help pay down the crushing national debt. So, are tariffs good or bad? It's not black and white. They can boost domestic production by encouraging companies to build and manufacture inside the US. They can create American jobs by bringing factories back home. They can generate billions in government revenue through collected tariffs. But they can raise prices for American consumers on everyday goods. They can trigger inflation, making the cost of living higher. They can risk retaliation from other countries, slapping tariffs on American exports and hurting US farmers and manufacturers. Bottom line, tariffs are a powerful tool, but like any weapon, they can either protect or hurt you depending on how they're used. At the end of the day, tariffs aren't just about trade, they're about power. They can rebuild industries, bring back jobs, and keep money flowing inside America. But they can also raise prices, spark trade wars, and make life harder for the very people they're supposed to help. It's a risky game, one that could either make America stronger or leave us paying the price. Now the question is, are we ready to accept short-term pain for the hope of a long-term future? Or are we just setting ourselves up for an even bigger fall? Time will tell if this gamble will truly pay off, but one thing's for sure, the stakes have never been higher. And right now, only one man has the power to change the course of this situation: the President of the United States, Donald Trump. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more global insights. Drop a comment below. What's your take on tariffs? Are they helping America or hurting us in the long run? Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching.